Welcome. This is Keith Lee, and we're going to get started here with our webinar today, How to Thrive on a Shoestring Budget. Quickly, I'd like to just thank the sponsors, one of which is my company, American Retail Supply, of course, where you can get everything you need to run your store on time, every time, from the people who know only happy customers come back. And we're at AmericanRetailSupply.com. Thank you all out there for your business. You might have also found out about this webinar from 3dmailresults.com. That's a business my son and I have. We teach people there how to use three-dimensional mail to make sure that their direct mail pieces get opened, something that's lumpy, if you will, to make sure that the mailing piece gets open, gets read, and gets some fabulous results. The last way, or the third sponsor, you may be here from the Friedman Group. We think they're incredibly great people to work with. The Friedman Group specializes in helping retailers with sales and customer service, store management, store operations. The reason we want we like having them on our webinars is they're good people. I found out about the Friedman Group many years ago from some of our customers, and they do a very good job. I've only heard good things about them, so Google the Friedman Group if you want to know more about them. So let's get going here. We have Jeff Slutsky with us today, and Jeff is the leading expert on low-cost community-level marketing. He has a background in both advertising and public relations, and he had an opportunity to practice what he preached when he became a part owner in a nightclub and then later in a health club. With the marketing dollars now coming out of his own pocket, he soon began to discover and develop results-oriented, low-cost tactics to build sales. His unique combination of shrewd thinking, innovative problem-solving, budgeting on a shoestring, and a lot of hard work came to be known as street fighting. His unique grassroots local store marketing program has received a great deal of national media attention, including the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, Success, and CNN. Jeff's client list includes AT&T, American Express, Walt Disney, Pizza Hut, Sony, Honda. You may be wondering what those have to do with you because we're talking about grassroots marketing. Well, when Jeff works with those people, and if they're the franchisees, he teaches, franchisor rather, he works with the franchisees around local franchisees marketing and what they can do on a local level to bring people into their businesses. Jeff specializes in teaching businesses how to market, promote and increase sales on a shoestring budget, and he is a seasoned speaking professional and has authored and published 10 books, 3 audio albums, and 6 video training series. But his most successful project today is your triplets, right, Jeff? Are you there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. So welcome, Jeff. It's great to have you here. And I think I just gave you the control of this screen. For those of you out there, I am not a professional at GoToWebinar, but I'm learning real quick. And I did take some training, and I hopefully did that right. Jeff, you're on. Go ahead.
Okay. I will get started. Let's see if this works here. How do I advance the screen?
Just a click on your mouse.
Just a click on my mouse. Well, I've done that. It's not working. Let's try another click.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I'm clicking. Oh, something happened.
There you go.
Okay. So what we're going to work on today in our little webinar is how do we focus on the community? How do we work on that area that is that 3 to 5 mile radius around your local store, your brick and mortar store? So that's what we're going to focus. I'm trying to advance this slide one more time. It's not, this thing's just not working right.
Good. Yeah.
Can you do it from your end there, Keith?
Yep, I'm pretty sure.
Click. Okay.
Yep. Hang on.
We'll get it moved. There we go. So What you're looking at is a map of a typical community. This happens to be a suburb of Columbus, Ohio, called Gahanna, Ohio, which is where I have my office. So if your business happens to be located in Gahanna, Ohio, Gahanna, by the way, happens to be the Hebrew word for hell, and Ohio is a Japanese word for good morning, so it's actually good morning hell in 2 languages. But if you look at this, let's say your store or your business was where my office is located here, where the red dot is, and you'll see within 3 to 5 miles of my location here, all these are opportunities for getting low-cost and free advertising, everything from schools and other businesses, and there's a big hospital down on the south end there that you can see, Mount Carmel Hospital, right across the street from Forest Lawn Cemetery, which doesn't speak well for the hospital, actually. But if you look there, you'll see all these kinds of manufacturers, recreational things, clubs, and every one of these, depending on the type of business you run, can be a very, very effective partner, when done right, in promoting your business very inexpensively. Okay, need another click there.
Okay, Jeff, I'm trying to get someone to help me here so we can get this clicking done right.
It will be my official clicker if necessary.
Yeah. Well, this isn't working as good as it said on the would you try clicking too?
I clicked left side. I've clicked through. I just clicked the left side.
There you go.
There we go. So we're going to do a little exercise here because in order to get free advertising or very low-cost advertising, you have to think outside the box. Now, it's not just a cliche. Now, this little exercise you see here has been used by trainers, for 30, 40 years, and you may already know the answer to this one. But it's a neat way of sort of stretching your brain a little bit. We won't spend a lot of time on it, but the exercise is to connect all 9 dots using 4 straight lines without lifting your pen from the page or repeating a line. And the trick is to think outside the box. Now, let's see if I can get to show you the answer here. I just lost the whole thing. Show my screen. Okay, Keith, I just lost my whole screen there. So, okay, technical glitch. Anybody there? Need to hear somebody let me know what's going on because I lost the screen here. I don't even know if you're listening. Well, if you're listening, I'm going to go without the screen. That's the reason I really not too happy with PowerPoint. It always happens to screw up during the middle of a seminar. So we're going to go without this thing. I'm going to go through my seminar for you so you can get the basics for it until we get this thing figured out.
Hey, Jeff, are you there?
I'm here, and I lost the screen.
Okay, hang on. We're going to, I believe I'm going to get, and what do you have on your screen right now? Anything?
It says download complete, so it's just before the screen came up.
Okay. Boy, I am really sorry, folks. I am looking like a fool. Do you have a screen up, Jerry? Okay. Oh, goodness. Folks, we're going to, if you can, I'm going to start this webinar all over. I don't know if you're going to have to get in and off again. I apologize. I don't know what else to say. And yeah, we're calling Go to Webinar right now, folks. Jeff, you do still, you're seeing no screen, right?
No screen. But you know, if you want to, we can do it without the screen. I can give them a lot of the same information, and we can get going. If you want to do that.
Yeah, let's make it a teleseminar instead of a webinar, which you're used to doing anyhow, right, Jeff?
Exactly, not a problem. You know,
okay,
that's part of being a no BS grassroots marketer. You have to, like, you know, roll with the punches.
Good enough.
So these things come up.
Ahead,
you know
Jeff.
what? We'll just go forward. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at, you have that 3 to 5 mile radius around your location. That's what we want to dominate, and that's what we're going to focus on. So if you're taking notes, I'm going to want you to write something down. In order to have a promotion that works, you got to use what I call the 4-point must system. And by 4 points, these are the 4 things I'm looking for in any promotion that's going to happen on a local level. Number 1, it's got to be very inexpensive. Most local marketing tactics, some of them are cheap, but some of them actually aren't cheap, and they don't necessarily give you a return on investment. 2, they can't take a lot of time. I've seen some very elaborate local promotions that they take hours and hours and hours, and it might be pretty good, but with all that time involved, return on your time on investment is very, very difficult to get. And 3rd, you want to make sure it drives sales. So many local promotions don't really think about that. They're looking for exposure or goodwill, which is fine. I think that's extra credit. But the main thing you want from your local promotions is to have somebody come into your store and try you out, or at least give you a call and set up an appointment, depending on the type of business you have. And the 4th key issue is you got to be able to track it. You got to be able to measure the results. So much of this kinds of local marketing, it's not measurable. So how do you know if it's successful? So given the limited amount of time you have to spend on your local marketing, I would be choosy about the types of promotions that I'm willing to do. So the ones I want to do are the ones that I can measure, so I know if they're working or they're not working. If they're not working, I got to make sure I don't do it anymore. And if they are working, can I make it work better? Or what can I do differently for different situations? So that's your 4-point must system. So what does this mean? I mean, when people talk about local marketing, local grassroots marketing, typically, like in the advertising industry, they refer to it as local store marketing or LSM. Sometimes it's referred to as guerrilla marketing. I started a company back in the 80s called Street Fighter Marketing, which I sold 6 years ago, so I can only make reference to it, something I did 6 years ago. So Street Fighter Marketing would be another term, but it's all based on that local marketing on a shoestring budget. But a lot of that stuff that people do, this is their idea of local marketing. They sponsor a local softball team. It costs them $500. Well, what do you get for your $500? You know, you get your name on a T-shirt and maybe a banner out in center field. Does it really give you a return on investment? Does it really drive in sales? And that's the issue. So one of the examples I like to use, and we've been using this one for years, but we've actually fine-tuned this over the last 3 years, which is the reason we came out with the new book, No BS Grassroots Marketing, because even though on the surface it may look like some of the same stuff we were doing over the last 10, 15 years, there's some nuances now that make it actually work a lot better and a lot easier, and I'll go over those with you. So the first tactic, I want to share several with you that you can do on a local level without spending money. One is a simple cross-promotion, what we call a merchant cross-promotion. I'll tell you a little story about one we did about 3 or 4 years ago for a client I had, Backyard Burger. A Backyard Burger is a small fast food chain, about 200 and some units, franchise. And after we were working with our pilot group, one of the managers in Knoxville, Tennessee, his name is Steve, remembered from the training, from the workshop we did, and noticed that he had a customer that would come in 2 or 3 times a week who was the assistant manager of the Blockbuster Video down the street. So one day, a guy comes in a little bit later than usual. It's slowing down a little bit, so he goes over to him, says, you know, we're introducing some new desserts here pretty soon, 3 different cobblers, and I brought some over for you to try out. I just want to get your feedback. Tell me what you think of these things. And the guy tried it today. He said, great. But let me ask you a question. How would you like to be able to offer each one of your Blockbuster customers a free cobbler with the purchase of a sandwich, but a free cobbler as a way to thank them for coming in, for being your customer in a way that your boss, the manager, and you could personally thank them for coming in and buying or renting your videos and games. He goes, that would be great. So they created a cross-motion piece. Now, of course, we don't have it on the screen, but just imagine a quarter-size piece of paper. And it's very simple, black and white, nothing really fancy here, quick printing, and it simply says compliments of Blockbuster Video at the top, and it's got the Blockbuster logo, and it's got the name of the manager and the name of the assistant manager. The bottom half of it, it's got a dotted line. It typically looks like a coupon, but we never call them that. We call them certificates for a certain reason, which I'll get into. And it says this free cobbler, then of course disclaimers, expiration date, and so forth. And they handed these pieces out. It looks like a typical kind of promotional piece. They printed, I believe, a couple thousand of them. And over the course of about 3 or 4 days, we were able to hand out all 2,000 to all their customers. Now, out of the 2,000, they got a couple hundred redemptions, which in itself is pretty good in coupon terms. You know, when you do mass couponing, you get 1 or 2%. They usually figure it's pretty good. So they're running about 10%. But that's not the important number. See, out of the 200, 95 of them were first-time buyers. This is what we're really after. In order to build a business, I'm not interested in discounting my regular customers. That's not going to really help me. Matter of fact, that's going to cost me money. What I really want to do is use this kind of device to introduce first-time buyers to my business. And then if I do a good job, I will get them as repeat customers. And that's where it's at. So 95 of them were repeat customers. Now, how do they know that? Well, part of the training and part of something I think you need to work into your operation is that when somebody shows one of these certificates for redemption, you got to ask, first time here? You know, real scientific. And if they say yes, actually, if you see the certificate, we always put a big Y in the lower right-hand corner of these things. So, you know, about 15-point type. And if they say yes, we circle the Y. The cashier, the person, the salesperson, circle the Y. And if they're not a first-timer, we don't circle the Y. And if they say, no, I've been here before, we try to find out if it's been 6 months or more, depending on the type of business. And if it's been 6 months or longer, we call that a reactivation. We'll also circle the yes for that as well.
Hey, Jeff.
So, yes.
Hey, we have the screen back up for those people that are there. Again, my apologies. So the screen is up there, and for those of you listening, if you have a little orange arrow at the top, that'll open another screen for you or close one. And you can ask, I see that most everybody here is, if you want to ask a question, just hit the little hand, and that should give me something to say, hey, you've got a question, you can ask it. Or you can type in your questions in the question box there. So with that said, maybe we're doing a little better here, Jeff. But so again, those of you that are on can go ahead and actually, believe it or not, it doesn't look like we dropped too many. So go ahead, Jeff. Thank you. Okay. So I understand you're in control, though, right? I am in control, so you're going to want to have help. Okay, good. I'm not going to try. What happened is I turned over the control and it left. So I'm not going to try and do that again. So you just tell me when you want to click. Go to the next, click it one more time, and it should bring up the stat. There we go. So like I was saying, there's 95 new customers. Now on this version here, look in the lower right-hand corner where we don't have the Y. We actually added that later. They even got 55 other redemptions at 2 other stores really far away. But one of the key issues was, notice what happened here. We had 95 new customers. These are people who potentially can be regular customers. Now, there's a conversion ratio, which you'll find out in your business. But, you know, it may be 25%, 30%. Not all of them are going to become regulars. But also notice that this thing only took, 5 minutes to set up. He did it at his own location. He didn't have to go knocking on doors. He didn't have to spend time outside of his particular restaurant. The cost of it was extremely low, just the quick printing. Like I mentioned before, the original was in black and white, so he had under 20 bucks in it, and this brought in a lot of business. And you'll see on this next screen here, there's 3 C's of grassroots marketing. Why do we get such a high return on investment? Well, the 3 C's, the first one you'll see is cost. The most expensive thing about advertising is the distribution of the advertising message. You know, if you buy newspaper locally or you buy radio or a billboard, it's all based on the size of the audience, and they'll charge you for it. You know, the more eyes, more ears they have, the more they charge. We are getting free distribution
of our advertising. People are going to hand out your advertising for you free. I think free is in everybody's budget. And even the production costs are relatively inexpensive because I'm using quick printing and it doesn't cost much. Next we have control. And there's several different types of control that we have. We have control geographically. This allows us to target where we want to be. You know, get that 3 to 5 mile radius. Now it may be bigger or smaller for your particular business, but if you find cross-promotion partners who are also in your territory, it's likely they're going to have the same basic geographical pool of their customer base. So if you have a low-volume store, you might want to do a cross-promotion with somebody down the block because low volume means you don't have a lot of those people already as regulars. However, if you're in a high-volume store, you may not want to do something within 2 miles because most of those people are already your customers, and we don't want to discount our regulars, as I mentioned before. So we go to that 3 to 5 mile range or further out. Or maybe I want to target a competitor. I go on the other side of my competitor away from my store. I'm going to pick up a lot of their customers. I'll pull them in. So I have that kind of control. I also have demographic control. So if you're looking for a specific type of customer base that is more likely to buy from you, you can target cross-promotion partners who reach the same type of customers you want. So for example, if you're trying to reach young families, you might go to a daycare center to cross-promote, or Toys R Us. If you're trying to reach women, let's say 18 to 34, it might be a nail salon or hair salon, for example. If you're trying to reach single men between the ages of 25 and 54, you might go to a strip bar or whatever. So you target demographically. And then you see the third of the 3 C's is credibility. And this is, I think, very, very important, especially now. Let me explain what I mean by credibility. One of the biggest problems I think retailers have, especially when times are challenging like they are now, is they do over-discounting, over-couponing. Now, what happens is when you run a big, massive coupon, it'll bring in business. There's no doubt about it. But customers that you're bringing in, are the customers that are going to come back repeatedly without a coupon and pay full price because they liked the experience, they saw value in your product, or they really valued the service that you provided? Or are they just going to wait for the next coupon? Now, if that's the kind of business you want, that's fine, but it's really not a great way to build it up because those are the deal shoppers, and they're going to be not loyal to your business. They're loyal to the offer, to the discount. We want to use the offer as a means to attract somebody there the first time, or maybe first 2 times. So we got a really good chance of proving that we are, we deserve their business, and then we got them, and that's what we want from it. So the credibility issue is if you were in, for example, one of those marriage mailers like a vow pack, like where I live here in Ohio. In Columbus, I get like a vow pack once a week, that blue envelope. Every week I get a vow pack. And the top piece every week is Jiffy Lube. It's here, at least in Columbus, $3 off on oil change. So, okay, over the course of time, I got 10, 12 of these coupons. Now, why would I ever be willing to pay full price at Jiffy Lube? I always know there's a coupon a week or 2 away. I don't know if you knew this, but Columbus, Ohio was one of the test markets for Pizza Hut's delivery program. And they did it differently than the competition. They did this is where they tested the 1-number centrally dispatched program. I remember trying them out for a while. And I dialed the phone asking I wanted to order a pizza once, and this is how he answered the phone. Thank you for calling Pizza Delivery. What's your phone number? As if they really cared. Yes, I give her my phone number, and I hear her clicking on a computer keyboard. And she goes, oh, Mr. Slutsky, how are you today? I go, I'm fine. And I hear more clicking on a computer keyboard. Let's see here, still in on Crossing Creek North. I go, uh-huh. And I hear more tapping, and then she goes, let's see, last time you ordered a small mushroom onion with extra cheese on July 27th at 7:15 p.m. You gave the guy a 20 and he gave you some change. Would you like to place that same order again today? I said, well, you want to do my tax returns this year? So I then order the pizza, and then she asks this question. Do you have any coupons today? What has she just done to me? Here I am on the phone ready to pay full price for my pizza. And she says, do you have any coupons today? She's just informed me that everybody else in the world is paying less money for this pizza than I am, which makes you feel real special. You know, I don't mind paying full price once in a while. I just don't want to know everybody else isn't. So then I asked her a question. Hey, let me ask you this. Do you take other people's coupons? Oh, we'll take anybody's coupon. I said, great. I have a Jiffy Lube. And she took it. Guy comes to my door. It's a true story. Guy comes to my door with my small mushroom onion. I handed him $3 off an oil change. They took $3 off my bill. Now that local pizza franchise has totally lost credibility with me. Why would I ever pay full price? They've proven to me that their regular price means nothing. And that's what we have to watch out for if we coupon too much. Now, with a cross promotion, like you saw this example here with Blockbuster and Backyard Burger, see, it's different in that it wasn't Backyard Burger giving up that discount, that free dessert. In this case, it said compliments of Blockbuster. So as part of the purchase, as a value added, as a special thank you, Blockbuster is providing that customer with something from Backyard Burger. So I've transferred responsibility of the discount, and I can use a discount as a really strong motivator to get someone to try me without destroying my price credibility. And the second part of that credibility issue is that because Blockbuster is giving them out, I'm basically getting a testimonial or a referral from that other business. So you only want to work with really quality businesses or organizations in your area. Okay, so let's go to the next slide there.
Good enough. Hey,
up there.
Jeff, you give it a try.
Oh, I can give it a try? Ooh.
Yep, give that click a
try. I'm afraid to touch it. I think my screen will
I know,
blow.
I am too. And thank you guys with all your questions and answers for each other in there. I appreciate that and your patience. That was very, very good of you. Did you get anything with the click?
There we go. I don't know if you did it or I did it.
I think it might be a little slow, but I think it's going to come up.
Well, perfect, because so am I.
We're on the right track.
So,
hey, I've got a question. I'm going to try something else here, too, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
We have Trent with a question out there. Trent, I should have unmuted you. Let's see how that works. Are you still there, Trent, with a question? I'm sorry, not Trent, Travis. Trent is my nephew. Travis is my son. So, Travis, are you out there?
You know, I get that a lot because my last name is Gent. So
okay,
yeah.
You're not actually my son,
Gent
Travis.
Well.
You're another one, but that's funny. I saw Travis on here, and I used my nephew's name instead. So, Travis, what do you have to ask Jeff here?
You know, actually, I was just trying to provide feedback earlier when we were having some technical difficulty. You know, people were asking if people were still on the line, and I want to try and chime in and let you guys know that I could still see the desktop at the time, but everything seems to be flowing really well.
We'll be real quick here. That was totally my mess up. I will not make that one again, but if you've been on other webinars with me, you know I've made other ones. So again, I apologize, but I think I'm going to get this right. Now, Michelle, you're not on a telephone. You've got speakers evidently on your computer. So I'm going to unmute you. Can you hear me there, Michelle? And do you have a question for Jeff? Again, if you're on the telephone, that one is easy for me. If you have speakers, I'm clicking there, and it looks like you have a hand raised, but it doesn't look like Michelle can hear me or doesn't have a question any longer. So, Jeff, we're back to you.
Okay, so now I'm in control here, so I can move it again?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so it's just slow. So here's a little illustration of the geographic control, and there it comes up. So if this yellow box was your store, you know, you got that 3 to 5 mile radius, and that's what we're looking at. It could go longer than that, and then if you have a competitor who's maybe 5 miles away, and you want to steal some business away, and this is that geographic control, maybe you go 7 miles away, even though you're likely to pull less redemptions from a cross promotion over there. The ones you do pull will likely be first-time buyers, and also likely be from that direct competitor. So it serves a couple purposes. So let's try the next one here. Try it again. It doesn't like me now. It's frozen.
Okay. I'm going to take this back.
Take it back.
Yep.
I like it better when you did it.
Yep.
I like
I'm
having
going to take it back. We'll leave it here, folks.
Okay. Okay. So here's one I did last year. I was working on a big project, and I'm going to share kind of a case history with you of what we did. This is Moe's Southwest Grill. This is a burrito franchise, fast casual, 350 units, all franchised. And we did a 26-unit pilot for them so they could roll this thing out. So we did a number of merchant cross promotions. Now, some of the elements of all the promotions will follow what I'm talking about, but they're more than just this merchant version. But here, they did a promotion with Staples. We discovered through trial and error, which is what we do in our development phase of when we work with clients, which of these partners works the best. Staples was one that worked really well for these guys. Best Buy's got really good response. We did an employee program, and I'll talk about that in a minute, with Best Buy, and we always got a huge return on investment every time we did Best Buy. So we tested the same thing with Walmart, and guess what? It tanked. What do you think the difference between the employees at Best Buy and the employees at Walmart are? Well, their target audience were young males. 1834 was their prime area, and I guess Walmart just didn't meet that expectation. So when we did this promotion, you look at the numbers here, and then you can see in the lower right-hand corner the N, which meant new. This is the first time we did this. Now, they got confused. So when we trained them, they didn't know whether it meant new or no. So eventually you'll see some of these things, we have a Y instead of an N. That's something we learned from this thing. Anyway, so they handed out 2,500. Now, these went out not to employees but to their customers. We also did one with their employees. 300, almost 400 redemptions. So again, as the redemptions go, very, very strong. But here's the most important number here, 128 first-time buyers. Now, in this business, we knew from research, that their conversion ratio is about 25%, meaning that after they get 4 people in the front door, they're likely to get one of them as a regular customer. To them, a regular customer would come in 30 times a year on average, and it was about I think about a $450 or $500 annual value over 12 months. So, and they would get probably 32 of those out of this promotion. So you can do the math on it and see that it can be very, very, very good. It's just not going to be something that you're going to get everything in the first couple of weeks. You have to wait for that value over the 12 months. Now, if we can click again there, we should get another one that we did a couple weeks after that. So next, click. There we go. So then we did one with a bank, also to their customers. And similar numbers, where they handed out 3,000. Now, what would it cost you if you had to mail these things out, pay the postage and all that? So this one, it's a great supplement to, to your direct mail and to your other forms of marketing. They got some even higher redemptions, more first-time buyers. And the analyzed costs, once we knew the numbers, over 12 months, they could expect, realistically, to do $40,000 in sales with just these 2 promotions. Now, these were 2 fairly really good ones. Not all of them are this good, obviously, but that's not an unusual kind of return if you do this thing right. Okay, let's move ahead to the next slide. So how do we set these things up? So instead of knocking on doors, notice that what happened, especially, remember the first example with Blockbuster Video, the guy was already his customer. With the 2 examples you saw for Moe's, they already knew somebody. We would do exercises in our workshop. Who do you know? And we would do that to find out who might have connections in some place that we want to work. So if you look at this little chart here, you got friends, you got neighbors, and maybe your kids go to school, so you know the parents, could be your own employees, where you go to church, different groups, could be your own customers. And all these, there's probably a couple hundred potential partners that you could have without leaving the store. I mean, these are people you already know. So if there's already an existing relationship, you don't have to sell yourself. And that takes much less time. You can do it with a phone call or invite them in. One little trick we do for restaurants is we have a business card drawing, which I'm sure you've seen in a lot of restaurants. You put the fish bowl out and say, register to win a free dinner for 2 or something like that. Put your business card in. So you do that over the month, and let's say you collect a couple hundred business cards. Well, what information is on a business card that we might find valuable as it relates to promotions? Well, it's going to tell us, first of all, the name of the organization, and 2, the position, the title of the person who is our customer. So if this person is the owner, the president, the CEO, head of HR, maybe it's the executive director of the charity, maybe it's a partner in a law firm or something like that, these are the people that can connect us to who we want to work with. So out of that 200, you got 20 or 30 really good leads of people who are already your customers. Plus, you have their phone number, their address, their email address, and you know they're coming back. So you don't have to set up the first 20, 30 of these things, which could last you a good 6, 8 months. You don't have to leave your location, your store to do these. Plus, your own personal friends and people that you know. I'm working with an operator here, a restaurant, upscale Italian restaurant, just a couple miles from my house, partly on barter because the food is phenomenal. So I'm willing to do that. Now, I'm not going to do it with you guys, just because they're located really next to me here. But he knows so many people. He's just been around so long, and he never knew how to leverage those relationships. And give you an example, when I first started working with him, he had already a catering job in the works. It was a major division of the limited brands, within a mile of his location, and this was like one of the home offices of one of the divisions, and they were having an event for 420 people. It was kind of an employee reward thing. So they were paying him to be there for catering. So here's an interesting thing. Here he's already doing this catering gig, right? 420 people are going to be sampling his food. So I said, you need to do a bounce back. It's a real simple thing. It's like a cross motion, only you hand them out. You got somebody there serving the food anyway. And they handed out 420 certificates. We got permission, obviously, from the client. Matter of fact, the way we do this is when we sell a catering job, when we priced it, on a per-head basis, we say, plus this includes a $10 gift certificate for each one of your people. We make it part of the package. And you can change the value. Matter of fact, on this one, since it was so high-end, he actually went $15. But out of it, he's got over 100 returns already, and about 30% of them are first-time buyers. So for his business, it was already in the works. It was leveraging, okay? So that's a bounce-back version. Now we have something else that I want to share with you. And that'll be a different thing. What about community involvement, which we call working with nonprofit organizations or charity groups? Most charity groups come to you and they ask for donations, or they want you to buy an ad in their program book that's useless, or they want you to donate products and services in kind for their silent auction. It's a nice thing to do, but you really get no return on investment. Now, some businesses will do, like restaurants, this Tuesday night, bring your people, and 10 or 15% of all sales will go to the organization, okay? And that's nice, but it's not going to generate any new business for you. So we take it a step further. Okay, you work with a big charity, something well organized, something that reaches your target audience, and somebody that's they have the ability to get people to an event. And we pick a Wednesday or a Tuesday, and we give them like 4 or 6 weeks. Now on this day, let's say we normally do $2,000 in sales, okay, and we're very fair with that number, okay? I'm not going to inflate it. And say after our first $2,000 in sales, which is what we would normally do, 50%, half of every dollar that comes in the front door is going to be donated to your group. Now, 50%, in this restaurant situation, you're talking about 50% food and labor. They actually make a little bit, but not quite 50%. So he's going to make his $2,000 anyway, that he's going to get first. And then any dollar after that, it's not going to cost him anything. Yet, he's got this nonprofit group that is going to go out to the marketplace and promote it and try to bring as many people to this event as possible. But it's not just 10%. They're talking about 50%, and it even includes gift card sales and so forth. So they can literally raise $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in this situation, which is big enough to attract some really nice charities. And this is what we usually do once a quarter. But the people that come there are paying full price. This is an interesting thing. It's not the discount that brought them in. Yes, we're paying money, but only on performance base. If somebody comes in and spends $100, $50 will go to the charity. Okay, so we only got $50 on that particular customer, but the customer paid $100. So when they come back, and there will be a bounce back piece, when they come back, they're more likely to pay full price. and then before they leave the charity event, say thank you for supporting, in the case of the one that's coming up for us, let's say Flying Horse Farms, which is something for like kind of like a camp for kids in special needs. Thank you for coming to our special event. Come back in the next 2 or 3 weeks and order any 2 entrees, and another $5 or $10, whatever it is, will be donated to our cause. So we get them back one more time. We donate a little bit more money to charity. But now we've had 2 opportunities to impress this guest, and we can make them our regular customer. And that's with a nonprofit organization. So we get the exposure, the goodwill, the publicity, but that's extra credit. We get first-time buyers in our front door eating our food and paying for it. That's so much more important than, what would it cost you in advertising dollars to get 100 first-time buyers in there? So now I got this slide up here, strategic discounting. You got to be careful not to do too much discounting, except when it's part of your strategy. So I will discount when the objective of the discount is to promote new trial. I'm not interested in discounting my regular customers. Exception would be if I am doing a special promotion for a new product, introducing a new service or a new day part, trying to get a lunch buyer to come to dinner, trying to get a dinner person to come to Sunday brunch or happy hour, then I might do some internal discounting. Or if I'm working on a special promotion to increase frequency, get them to come, if the average customer comes 3 times a month, and I'm trying to get them to come 3.5 times a month, then I might do it. But I'm looking to promote trial, not just to give them a discount because I'm desperate. Now, next, I want to be able to shield that offer from the general public. When I offer a discount, I don't want to stick it for everybody to see. If I put it in the newspaper, everybody knows I paid money to discount my own product. That does not make me look high quality. So when I do a cross promotion, only the customers or the employees or the members or the agents of that particular group are aware that I even am doing anything. And the only reason they get it is because they belong to that group and they qualified for the special deal. It wasn't available to everybody. And then I want to track results. Of course, I've been on my soapbox enough about that. And when it's part of your plan, it's not just this one shot here and one little promotion there. You got to think out a year in advance. This is something that when we do a grassroots marketing program, we start out slow and we do a slow build, and it's something you want to incorporate into your operation. Every week you're doing one thing to promote your business. It doesn't have to be a big thing. You may do the big things once in a while, but just something that doesn't take a lot of time, something very simple. As simple as we have a lot of our people just as they're out and about doing their regular course of business, they're required to hand out one a day on average, a business card, and introduce themselves to somebody that's not a customer. And they don't go out and do this special. It's like they're already off duty. They're already, maybe they're picking up their dry cleaning and they happen to see somebody there. Oh, yeah, I'm the manager of this. And then, have you been to my store before? No, I haven't. Oh, you should be my guest. And you write an offer, some kind of offer on the back of that business card, handwrite it. So they feel they're very, very special. I don't like them pre-printed, and you sign it and date it. Hey, come on in and see me. I'll get you at half-price car wash, or we'll do some photo finishing for you, or something. You give them some sort of offer strong enough to get them in. Redemptions on those are high. If you just do one a day, on average, you're talking about 200 or 300 of those kind of personal contacts in the course of a year in your community. You get very high redemptions on them, and you build relationships that will drive in more sales. Okay, now it looks like deja vu to me. I think that was my fault. I probably put in 2 slides. I liked it so much. Let's move it ahead one more. There we go. So elements needed for success. You are your general manager. This execution has to come from you through existing relationships. It's not going to show you a return on investment to hire somebody to go out and set up these promotions for you. And they don't really take long. Once you get the hang of it, you see how easy it is. It's just, you're going to spend, in the beginning stages, maybe a couple hours a week, but once you get this thing down, it's on autopilot. Now, that's 6, 8, 10 months down the road. Okay? It takes you a while to get there. I'm not going to exaggerate this thing. And it doesn't work for everybody. You just got to make sure that you get the right offers and the right cross-promotion partners, but consistency. I don't want 20 promotions in your first week when you're excited and then drop. You're much better off doing one a week or one every 10 days but consistently doing these things. Okay? The next thing, make sure they don't take up a lot of your time, so you want to track the amount of time you do. You know, it's got to be under 2 hours a week, or it's just not going to be what you want. Of course, the low cost. Here's the other thing, the reduced risk of acquisition of a customer. When you spend $5,000 on television, radio, newspaper, cable advertising, whatever it might be, you're going to pay that whether you get new customers or not. With this stuff, our cost, our main cost is in the discount that we're offering. Well, yeah, there's a cost involved, and we call that a marketing cost. We even put that on a special line item so that we know that there's an investment there. And we may, out of that, end up discounting, let's say, 50 regulars to get 15 or 20 first-time buyers. So you factor in, what if those same people
Oh, my God. Oh, my. I have no idea what happened to Jeff, people.
Next slide.
Okay, he's back. Jeff, you were gone for just 30 seconds or so, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That
was the first 30 seconds of my presentation.
It wasn't gone for about 30 seconds. So, if you want to repeat the last 30 seconds.
What did I
or not, or you can go on with
it. It was very good.
Hey, I have a question here from Steve. In the case where you're giving away the free burger or the free whatever it is, any thoughts on controlling abuse, the customers who take a few of the ads and keep coming back?
It'll happen a little bit. That's a good question. Here's the thing. There's always going to be a little bit of abuse with it. Okay, some people will take advantage of it, and you do what you can to minimize it. But if you get so focused on the abuse of it, you forget the upside. So you got to factor that in. So remember, when we hand these things out, when they're being distributed properly, hopefully it's one to a person. And it does say in the disclaimer, one per person, it cannot be combined with any other special, void if reproduced. It has an expiration date, so and that's all the details that you get out of the book. But it will happen once in a while, not as much as you think. And if it does, again, you just try to limit it, and then it just becomes a cost of business. But if you're so focused on, ooh, somebody might do 2 of them, and then you forget about the 25 first-time buyers you got from the promotion, you miss the big picture. So yes, you need to be aware of it. Don't let it control you.
Yeah, I agree with that, and a lot of the American Retail Supply clients on the call here know that I have our Make You Happy guarantee, and basically says if we're not happy, if you're not happy with us, call us and give us the chance to make you happy. And in 42 years, we've never refused a client's request to make it right. We go through. We never have refused a client's request to make it right. Our clients aren't, we're business to business. They know they don't want to be taken advantage of. They don't take advantage of us. So, it certainly is a little bit different. But if we got caught up with the few times that we think people are taking advantage of us, we would lose the effectiveness of that guarantee, which basically says, hey, call us if we mess up. We want to know. So go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah. And I believe in the same thing, and I have done it. Every once in a while, I work with a new client in a new industry, and I have no idea if it's going to work. And if it doesn't, then I'll extend beyond the contract at my own expense and try to come up with programs that will work for that client. So
yeah, and I think that's critical too. The whole idea of don't think that your first one has to be perfect. You may want to tweak it a bit as you go down with some of these tactics.
It's more important to get it done quick and dirty and go on to the next one than obsessing over every little detail. This is the kind of thing that it doesn't have to be perfect every time. This is not Fortune 500 stuff.
Yeah, and well, if you have any other questions out there, you should have on your screen, if you click that little orange arrow up above or unclick it or click it, the ability to ask questions, and it looks like I've gotten that one down better now too. So go ahead, Jeff, and I'll interrupt as we have questions. But we're also going to, if we don't get to your question, we will get it at the end of the webinar here. So go right ahead, Jeff.
Okay. So what I'd like to do, I've just given you a handful of things. You got the merchant cross promotion, you got the bounce back. There's a thing called a VIP card. This is a device that we use for major employers. It seems to respond better. And it's the same basic concept, but it allows for a repeated offer depending on the situation. You got the charity thing. There's another technique I'm a little scared to share with you called the blowout. So I'll give you the basics of it, but do not do this unless you read all the rules, because it could backfire on you. The blowout is something that's a crazy promotion. Most people, when they first hear it, think you're totally nuts. So here, I'll give you an example we did for Moe's last year. What we're looking for is a one-time event that we can do during the year that's going to line people up and get a lot of new trial. So you take their burrito, their top-line burrito is about a retail value of, let's say, $8.50, costing them about $1.85 in some costs, I believe. So here's what we do. One day only, 99-cent burrito. Any burrito, 99 cents. So what do you think of first off when I make that offer? They're losing money on every burrito. Okay, so that's what's scary. But what are we trying to accomplish with this promotion? We're trying to generate trial, a lot of trial in a short period of time. Now, their operation has to be perfect before they even do this. Otherwise, they're going to get a lot of people try them out and realize how bad they are. So here's the thing. You can promote this internally so your regulars find out about it, and it turns out that your regular customers are the ones who are going to get the word out for you. So you use your social media. You have Facebook and Twitter, you know, table tents or emails, texting, whatever you have. A week before the event, just simple signage, banner, that type of thing, maybe a little flyer where there's some street teams once in a while with the announcement of it. It's like usually like an anniversary thing or customer appreciation day, something like that. And they come out, and I'll tell you, make sure you're ready for it, because you've got to have a lot of product. The last thing you want to do is run out of product. You want to have a lot of your high-end stuff. Don't try to discount just the low-end stuff to save some money. You want to introduce them to your best stuff if at all possible, because that's what they're going to come back and buy. And you make sure you have a lot of labor. Get everybody, if you have multiple stores, get people from the other store over, get people to help you. Just be prepared for it, because they will line up for it. And gross sales for, at least when we did it, would usually quadruple, at least triple for the day. Of course, you only have that one item that's on sale at 99 cents, and it's a crazy price. But everything else, sodas and everything else was the same price. Bounce back, make sure they come back, because whenever you do something that's really crazy, that is a legitimate time to bounce them back and give them a lesser offer. And what happens is the food cost actually doesn't do that bad for the week. When you look at the week's sales, the sales will be up, profits will be about the same as normal, maybe a little higher. But here's the interesting thing. The weeks that follow, especially 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, depending on the type of business, all of a sudden things start growing even more. So it's because you've introduced hundreds and hundreds of people to your business. And again, if you thought about what would it take if I did that with newspaper and billboards and traditional advertising, then you could spend $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, depending on your marketplace, to try to get that amount of people in the front door. It's cheaper to give it away. I mean, I don't do it for free. I think free is crazy. IHOP does a free thing, and I think they do it wrong, and it doesn't generate the kind of business I think they want. But I think if you do this right, you're better off just giving the product, getting them to try it out, and get them, and make sure it's a party atmosphere, then you get them back. Again, you can only do it once, maybe twice a year at the most. So that's the blowout thing. And then, so what happens is we usually work with maybe a couple dozen different kind of tactics. We'll find out the top 6 or 7 for that particular business that work the best and most consistently. We're not trying the newest thing all the time, just consistently. You could do a dozen, 2 dozen cross promotions, simple retail merchant cross promotions like the first thing we talked about, and it will generate business. It doesn't have to be new and different. So that's in the basics. The next slides are 10 steps for setting up a cross promotion. It's all pretty self-explanatory, of course. And so if you do this right, you shouldn't have to. They should already know who you are. So actually, it should only be 9 steps. I'll take that step away. I'm going to change my slide. Show an actual sample of something. It really gives a lot of credibility. First time you do it, you're not going to have a sample. So the first promotion you do is a homework assignment. I want you to do it with your best friend. I don't care if they're a really bad partner. You know, it may not be ideal. You're doing it for practice. And then once you print up that first piece, print a few extras, and then we'll see what you have. And then after that, you present the benefits, which you set it up. And again, remember I said it's a great way for you to provide value added, a great way for you to thank your customers or your employees, that kind of thing. Get their logo, find out how many customers they have in a week, see how many they print. Then I usually give, as a thank you, a little extra free card of some kind, depending on the business. If you're selling cars, that won't work necessarily. You can do a free oil change maybe. Get the number of employees. I'll come back with a VIP cards, which is the employee promotion that we do. Then I go to the printer, and last, I track, I inform, I try to see if they distributed them right, because I want to work with them. Sometimes they don't, so that'll be part of the learning curve of who's going to work with me the right way and so forth. So those are the 10 steps for setting it up. Next slide.
Hey, Jeff, we have a question from an Ace Hardware. The Ace Hardware says that they have a Mexican restaurant about 5 miles away. How can we set up a cross-promotion for Cinco de Mayo with them?
Perfect. Actually, Cinco de Mayo, they're going to be busier than heck on Cinco de Mayo. Same thing Moe's did. So what you need, you'll probably want to do a two-way cross-promotion, but I would approach them. Hopefully, the manager of that Mexican restaurant is already a customer of the Ace, and he comes in, he buys his hardware and stuff there. So if you have something, a higher margin item that everybody uses, like light bulbs or something that, you know, when they go to a hardware, you usually have a problem you're trying to solve, right? So it's not like eating burritos, which you can do, you know, like if it's my son, 5 times a week. So in a hardware store, it's basically there's an issue, I'm trying to accomplish some specific goal, and they have a solution to a problem. However, you do have some impulse items. So whether it's light bulbs or something like that, that's relatively inexpensive, hopefully high margin, something that everybody can use, and that's the item I would work on a cross-promotion. Or you could just do it as a percentage. Now, the problem with the percentage is that because you have so many different kinds of items in there, it's difficult to do. And I've seen where Lowe's will do a 10% off on a next order of something, but you may want to put restrictions on it. So your cross-promotion piece, basically, you come up with your offer, whether it's on something specific, but something that has wide appeal. If it doesn't have wide appeal, you know, you're going to not get a whole lot of response from it. Something everybody wants and everybody could use. Or use a percentage or dollar off, $10 off a purchase of $50 or more, something like that, where you can't get to. But you set it up with them.
One of the things I love about a one-day holiday is making it into a month holiday. Also, the whole idea that we're celebrating Cinco de Mayo the whole month of May. Because one of the things the restaurant may not be terribly interested in is getting a whole lot more people in on Cinco de Mayo. They may be full anyhow. You know, so one of the things you could possibly do is celebrate Cinco de Mayo and some kind of promotion with them for the whole month.
Hello?
Are you there?
I don't know if you can hear me, but I cannot hear you.
Goodness.
Shows that I'm talking. There you are. You're back. I lost you for a second.
What in the heck is going on? So the whole month of Cinco de Mayo, the whole month of May doing the cross promotion, and I see here that somebody, thank you, John. I was hearing him just fine, so you guys didn't miss any of that. But I was basically saying, Jeff, that you know, to make that promotion the whole month long, possibly also. And one of the things I love when I approach somebody about doing a cross promotion with them, and I do a lot of them, is that I try to think of how I can help them first. And you know what? It always comes back. I was going to say almost always. Maybe it is almost always, but it seems to always come back. Talk about how you can help them and then it comes back to how they can help you, and it works out wonderfully. Jeff, you ready for the next slide, or where we want to go here? Jeff? Are you there, Jeff? I don't know why we're having problems. Everybody, would anybody there please tell me whether you can, on your questions, you can hear me, right, Jerry? We can't hear Jeff. Well, I didn't do anything that would help stop Jeff. Jeff, are you there? My call failed. He's calling back. So, folks, wait for 1 second again. I don't know where that one's coming from, but I just saw from Jeff that he is calling back. He evidently can hear me. So my guess is that he's going to come in on here, being able to see what's going on very shortly, since he's calling back. So, what other questions do you have out there, or what song and dance can we do? I appreciate your guys' patience here. Again, Jeff is, I did get a message from him on the screen that that he is calling back.
I'm here.
And he's here. Don't know what happened.
I'm back again.
Gosh, this is.
I think that was on my end this time. I won't hit you up for that one.
Okay, go. Let's go. You're back on, Jeff. Goodness gracious.
Okay. So yeah, where we left off, when I was there, we're talking about the cross promotion. I think you were actually right, absolutely right about providing the restaurant with exposure after Cinco de Mayo, because they don't need it during Cinco de Mayo. They're swamped. So you can do that for the weeks following. But you want, as Ace Hardware, you want to be there for Cinco de Mayo, because that's when they're going to reach 4 or 5 times their normal customer base. During Mother's Day, you want to be with the florist. End of June, florists isn't going to be any good. So there's a lot of seasonal businesses that you want to tie into. Valentine's Day, you want to work with a florist, a card shop, candy shop. That's when you're going to reach huge people. Today, it's almost the last day. You should be with H&R Block if you're trying to get business. That kind of thing. So you got to think that through.
Yeah, that's smart. That's really good. That's why we have you on this call. So you give them promotion the whole month, and they're primarily giving you the promotion for that one day by giving something to their customers. Who would refuse that? That's fabulous. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Health clubs they get most of their business in January. When if you're a restaurant, you're slow, so it's perfect. So the more you know about some of the partners you have in your marketplace, the more value you can get out of these things. So, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
You can hear me.
But you got my blood going too. You were quiet for a couple seconds, so you got my blood pumping. I think you're good, Jeff.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
So let's see. It's been so long. What's my next slide?
What to say?
Do I have any more?
Yep, I got this idea what worked really well and wanted to run it by.
This is basically the you benefit part. So it's kind of a little script. You go the next one.
Okay.
And this is good, especially the end part. Once you set up, the value of what you're trying to get across, you always ask them, what do you think? Never ask them if they want to do it. Don't ask a yes or no question. What do you think? And this goes back to some sales. All you Friedman people, you'll know this one. Yeah. So just use that open-ended kind of question, and that'll keep them from saying, well, let me get back to you.
Hey, and for those of you on the call, if you want to get all these slides, simply send me an email with the subject slides in it to Keith at American Retail Supply. You'll get that 10 lists of things to do. You'll get this and any of the other slides in here. We'll make sure and get that. Make sure and just again send that to Keith at AmericanRetailSupply.com, and we'll make sure you get all these slides. Thank you, and let's go, Jeff.
Next slide.
Looks like you're...
Well, we've reached the end.
It was a marathon. Let's see. Go ahead, Jeff, and talk to them about your book, but then I'm going to see if there's any other questions we have here while you're doing that.
Okay. Yeah, this is my 10th book. For a while there, we were #1 on Amazon for, I think it was entrepreneurial marketing books. And it's done really well. So this is one I co-wrote with Dan Kennedy, who's a marketing genius. I've known him for years and years and years, and finally got to work together on a book. And this is where I was able to take some of those innovations and ideas that, I've been doing this stuff since the mid-'80s, but in the last couple of years, when I was working with especially larger organizations, we came up with some really good improvement on an old idea, and that's in this book. So hopefully you'll order a copy or 100 copies of it, and it'll work for you, get a lot of ideas out of it. So,
excellent. Yeah, go out and get Jeff's book on No BS Grassroots Marketing. We are going to have it. I've actually ordered a lot of them for here. We're going to have it here at American Retail Supply, but we haven't gotten them in yet, but we're going to make sure it's on our list, on our website, because I just think it's a fabulous book. And I've got another question here, Jeff, for you. And again, if you have any other questions, type them in here. I work for a bridal shop that thrives on 90% first-time buyers. Do you have any recommendations on how to create cross-promotion with the lowest possibility of creating repeat customers? Well, I hope they don't have a lot of repeat customers today.
Yeah.
Jeff, what do you got for,
It looks like bridal shops and funeral homes. You don't want a whole lot of repeat customers.
Exactly. So what do you have for them?
I'll tell you what. Think about where's the point of entry when somebody decides to get married. Before they choose the bridal shop and the tuck shop and the venue and the limo service and the honeymoon. I mean, they're going to go through a lot of stuff, the flowers. There's one thing that everybody does when they first decide to get married, and if you can be there with a cross promotion, then you have a good chance of nailing them before they go elsewhere. And what is that first point of entry when somebody first decides to get married? Remember that far back, Keith?
I just asked her, and she did everything else.
You didn't give her anything when you asked?
Oh, of course, a ring, possibly.
A ring. You go to the jewelry stores.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's who you want to cross promote with. When somebody decides to buy an engagement ring from the jewelry store,
sure,
they're going to get something special from your bridal shop. Now you got them when you need them. So that's the one, and I've done this, and it works really well. So that's where you need to be. So you got to pick and choose the right jewelry store based on the types of clientele and their price points, so that reflects your clientele. And that's where you're going to nail them down. The only way you get repeat business in a bridal shop is when parents have, like 27 daughters, and they're all going to get married or something eventually. But the same person may not make that decision twice. But they do talk to their friends, and they all get married around the same time.
Yep, and I'll tell you what, one of my closest friends, I got to meet him over 25 years ago when he did the photography for my sister-in-law's wedding. He located his shop way back then next to a bridal shop. He was a photographer. So, I mean, I'm not telling you to go relocate, but there's sure a lot of different cross-promotions, working with people. If you're in the bridal business, you probably already know you need to be working with some of the photographers and the florists, etc. But that was great. The very first thing is the time to get in there right away. By the way, if you want to see a good book on relationship marketing, we'll maybe have Bruce in. He's the photographer I was just talking about. He wrote the book, The Relationographer. He basically relationship marketing in photography, but he went way further than just photography. He's the big relationship guy. Leslie, you got that right on the buy a ring. You guys are a little bit smarter than I am. Steve asks, does this book focus on brick and mortar, any e-commerce?
Brick and mortar. There's not a whole lot of e-commerce stuff in this book. Dan does more of it than I do. I don't do any e-commerce at all. So there's a lot of other books out there that are probably better for you.
Okay, good.
We'll buy it anyway because I need the money.
Yeah, and there's tons of, I read it, there's tons of other ideas. I mean, Jeff just hit the top of it, and oh my God, come on, $16 to get something that works in your store. That is why we have these webinars, and even with the glitches, I appreciate you being on. We have some more questions here, though. Let me see here.
Keep in mind that in addition to the triplets, I have 3 other children, too.
Okay, good. Let's see here. This is from KJ. After they submit the coupon, I haven't read this yet, so after they submit the coupon from the first promotion, how do you suggest to track if they come back in after?
First of all, it's a certificate, not a coupon. Let's not make that mistake. How do you, if they come back again, don't worry about it. You're going to get, 1 out of 2, 300 to do it. Just, if you're going to focus on that, you're not going to be successful with it. So just let it go. Take a Valium and just not let it bother you.
Yeah, and if you can track, if you have a way, if you can, boy, one of the things I just think is critical is trying to keep track of your customers. So if you can get names and addresses as they come in, and you can promote to them as you go on. Again, point-of-sale computer systems, very self-serving on my end there. But to try to keep in touch, I know you're a big fan of this, Jeff, is keeping in touch with your customers and certainly trying to get some information from them so you know whether they're coming back or not, correct?
That is absolutely correct. You got to keep your existing customers happy and build. Don't worry about getting new customers in the front door until you've captured and kept your existing customers. Solidify that first as an order. First, you make sure the operation is up to speed, and make sure your customer service is next to none, and then you worry about going after new people.
Excellent. Jeff, this is from Leslie. A great presentation despite technical difficulties. Does your book offer additional ideas like those discussed in the webinar? Sometimes I just need an idea starter. I think I might have answered that
I can
30 seconds
answer that
ago.
one for me.
Yeah, to say that, in reading the book, he just barely touched on what's in the book. And again, in a little over an hour, there's no way we can give justice to what's in. How many pages is the book?
I only know it was like 54,000 words.
Okay, good enough.
So I don't know how many pages that is, but that's, with illustrations.
Excellent. Yeah. Someone else here wrote, too, most online can work offline and vice versa. I am a huge believer in that. In fact, your co-author with this book, Jeff, will tell you there is no such thing as online marketing. Online is simply a medium. Being on the web is simply another media. It's like, and that's really the way to think about it. I'm a huge believer.
A lot of this can be adapted online. I just personally have not had the experience, or my clients have not asked me to do it, so I can't give you direct information. It's just a different type of community.
Good. Hey, Jeff, for you, your audio is getting worse and worse here, I think. Is there anything you can do there? You're not on a speaker or anything? Or?
No, on the speaker. I can hold the microphone closer.
Okay, good enough. Let's see what
yell.
else we got here. Yeah, maybe yell, but we've got a few things. Few more, and we got a lot of people on here still, so they're obviously interested in what you're saying. I run and operate an in-home, in-office client-tailored clothing operation. This is from Frank. Who might you suggest would be a strong cross-promotion for an in-home tailored clothing operation?
So high-end tailoring, I'd work with people that have image. I don't know if it's male or female. Actually, I know an organization that does that thing. So Mercedes, or the Bentley dealership, you can cross-promote with. So think in terms of who look at your customers. What do they buy? Where do they hang out? Do they belong to a golf club? That's going to work something out. Do they give money to charity? Most are.
Hey, Jeff?
Jeff? Yeah.
I think we're going to probably take this to an end here because the audio is really breaking up now.
Oh, my apologies.
No problem. But you know what? We're going to have you back in maybe 6 months or so. Those of you, again, we still have a lot of you on even with the technical difficulties. So for those of you still on this call, again, email me, tell me that you want the slides, and Keith at American Retail Supply. Also, tell me if you want Jeff back again. Jeff, with that, I'm going to close. We'll probably not mess with the audio here anymore. And thank you, Jeff. You can say goodbye, though, I think.
Okay.
Good enough.
Thanks. Your homework is fine.
Thanks so much, and make sure you get on Amazon there and grab Jeff's book. Thank you all for being here. Bye now.
Thank you.